All right, we're going to wrap up our unit on transformations with our final lesson today, which really is a cumulative review of everything we've done. And what we're going to do today is perform multiple transformations in the coordinate plane. So the good news is that there's really no new content, nothing new to teach you. It's just now putting those together in multiple steps, all right, to perform a composition of transformations. So you can see that this is standard 11.4. I can perform a composition of transformation in the coordinate plane. And to get you thinking about that, I'm going to have you do the opener here. So explain, right, if we go from ABC to A prime, B prime, C prime to A double prime, B double prime, C double prime, what is happening? So describe each of those transformations, right? Pause the video, write that down, flip it back on, and let's see how you did. All right, so now when we look at what we did, right, the first one here is one of our translations, right? So if we think about our rule, all right, we translated, all right, this to the left, all right, so that went from 3 to -9, so that was left 12, so x minus 12, and notice our y's didn't change, so 3 to 3, 2 to 2, 1 to 1, so that would just be y, so that was a translation. All right, and then you can see then the next thing, so that was the first thing that we did. All right, and you can see that the second step, then we just reflected over the x-axis, right? So then we reflected over the x-axis. And so that's what our composition of transformations will be, right? We're going to perform some combination of a reflection, translation, dilation in the coordinate plane. All right, now to help you with this, a couple of things to keep in mind here. All right, so the first thing is, right, do each individually. So do each transformation individually. Individually, there we go. So you really want to think of these as separate problems, right? So do the first problem, all right? And then take on and do the next part of the problem. So just do that and you'll be fine. And then the next thing is like label well, all right? So you know exactly what you're doing. So if you go back up to the opener here, right, we had A, B, C, then we had A prime, B prime, C prime, all right? So make sure you label everything, all right, really well, all right? That way you know, okay, is this the second step? Is this the beginning, right? You know exactly how everything fits together. Okay, so let's go ahead and just go through a couple of examples, all right, so you can see how this works. So let's go down to number 1 here. So we want to reflect segment BO, all right, so B is -6, 3 right here, all right, and O is -1, 3 right here. So there's our segment BO, all right. Okay, so now notice the first thing I want us to do. So step 2, we want to reflect over the y-axis. All right, so here's my y-axis right here. Let me grab my highlighter. All right, so here we go. So there's the y-axis, right? So we want to reflect over that. And then we know that to reflect, I just have to be the same distance away. So O is 1 to the left, so now O prime, and there's that labeling, right? It's going to be 1 to the right. Okay, B is 6 to the left, so now B prime will be 6 to the right. So there's B prime. So there is our first part, okay? Now, we want to dilate our new segment BO, okay? All right, and then notice it tells us that we want to now do a scale factor of 2, all right? So when we think about O prime, right, O prime is the point 1, 3, and so that means O double prime, if I do a scale factor of 3, would be 2, 6, all right? So 2, 6 would be right here, so there's O double prime. All right, B prime is 6, 3, and so B double prime there, if I do a scale factor of 2, would be 12, 6. And then we go off the grid a little bit here, so 12, 6, we'll just estimate is right out here. Okay, and then there's our B double prime, O double prime. So there's our composition. So you can see it's really just 2 separate problems, right? So do the first piece, do the second piece, label everything, and it should be a pretty, all right, easy process for you. All right, so now let's flip and let's do one more together. So let's look at problem 2 here. All right, so we want to reflect about the line y equals -2, then dilate with a scale factor of 1/2. All right, so here we have, so FUB right here. All right, so we have triangle buff. So once again, we're going to just treat this as 2 problems, right? So the first thing I want to do is reflect about the line y equals -2. All right, and so that would be, right, y equals -2 is the horizontal line, so that would be this line right here. Well, the nice thing is B prime, right, since it's on our line of reflection, isn't going anywhere. So B prime would also be for -2. All right, so now U is 1, 2, 3 above our line of reflection. So it would be 1, 2, 3, all right, units below. So that gives us 8, -5. All right, for U prime. And then F prime here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 above. So it's now going to be 6 below. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right here. So there's F prime. And that is 6, -8. All right, and if I draw my triangle in right here. All right, there we go. All right, so we can see that we have reflected, all right, over the line, or about the line y equals -2. All right, and then if we were doing what we did before, we just end, right? But now it's a composition. So now we're just going to perform another transformation on top of, all right, B prime, U prime, F prime. And that is that we now want to dilate with a scale factor of 1/2. Now, so for -2, all right, for -2 will become 2, -1. All right, so 2, -1. All right, so 2, -1 would be right here. All right, so that becomes B double prime. I don't know if in the video if that blue shows up well or not. We'll see. All right, U, if I do this by a scale factor of 1/2, all right, so U prime becomes 4, -2.5. So 4, -2.5, get a little crowded there, but we'll see. All right, so U double prime, okay. And then F double prime, all right, if I do a scale factor of 1/2 to this, it would become 3, -4. And then 3, -4 be right there. And so then there is our, all right, end result. All right, and that's really all our composition of transformation is, right? Just multiple, and we could add a third one, right? We could translate this if we wanted to, right? So you could really kind of perform as many as you wanted in a row, all right, to complete whatever you needed. All right, so that wraps up our final video for this unit. So have your notes ready, and we'll pick up this conversation in class. See you then.